Hi guys. So this isn't going to be like your typical reading with tarot cards. I am going to use some cards I'm going to use a couple decks that I feel called to use and to maybe expand on some hits and things that I've been feeling. I was part of the spiritual community a couple years ago, and then something extremely traumatic happened to me. I felt like before that happened, I was very in tune with my emotions. I was very aware. I felt like I was very tapped in, if you will. And when this very traumatic thing happened to me, I felt like I completely went offline. I deleted my YouTube channel where I delivered messages. I had a decent following. I had a good collective that was also really tapped in, that really resonated with my messages. I built a nice community that I felt comfortable and safe in. I felt comfortable and safe working with the energy that I was getting and that I was working with. And once this traumatic thing happened, like I said, went completely offline. I put all of my tarot and oracle cards away. I had no desire to touch them. Touching them or being around them was almost like PTSD for me. I wouldn't say that the traumatic experience was because of my spirituality and how tapped in I felt, but the circumstances and the timing around when everything happened to me was around when I was very engulfed in my spirituality. So that happened last year. It'll be 2 years in April. And there's something significant about April. There's also something significant about onions, something about peeling back the layers of onions. This could mean literally, or, this could be meaning something of you need to get to the root of something. There feels like there could be a lot of anxieties. There's also something about the year 2003. I also started thinking about randomly the movie Holes, which came out in April of 2003. I think I'm gonna watch that movie because perhaps there's some messages in there that I need to see or hear. I'm currently working through some things in my shadows, or in my shadow, and I feel like I've been hiding in the shadows for quite some time. And I have slowly been starting to find my confidence again to come back and share the messages that I receive. There, for quite a bit of time, I felt like the hits that I was getting, or the random things that I would see in my mind's eye, or random thoughts that I would have in my head, or things that would just kind of come to me, I would push them down because it was triggering some anxiety and, again, some mental cloudiness for me, and fear of paranoia, feeling like I'm a bit different, that I need to push this down and ignore it. That could also be a message, whether you're experiencing something similar, you have experienced something similar, or there's something that you are feeling about a situation or even a person, and the feelings are coming up because you need to look at them, whatever that may be for you. And the feelings, I'll be honest, do not feel very good. And when things are brought to us from our shadow, it's because we're meant to work through them and learn a lesson. I'm getting full body goosebumps. And I'm saying this because these messages are also for me. I am part of the collective, so I feel as though when I am reading, I'm also reading for myself, but I feel that through working through my shadow and the things that I've been through and sharing things that I feel comfortable with sharing about my life and things I've been through is part of what I need to do on my channel in addition to pulling messages, because while I feel that there's healing meant to be, while others are meant to heal, I am also meant to heal as well. And when I heal, I am more capable, more confident, and more secure in myself, which fills up my emotional cup. I will say that with my channel in the past, I would receive a lot of comments. I would receive a lot of emails from people who would watch my videos and it would resonate with them, and then they would feel comfortable sharing their personal stories. And there was a lack of boundaries that I had, because it is in my nature to want to help others and to guide them and to help them feel better, not with like this false sense of positivity or anything like that, but almost like the experiences that I've experienced have given me this perspective and this outlook on life that has given me this, I guess I could say, gift to give back to others through similar experiences, similar feelings, and providing guidance in a way that might not be typical or original. So I want to share that yesterday I was feeling a bit of mental and emotional overload. I have since I deleted my channel almost 2 years ago, a lot of things in my life have changed. Relationships have changed, lifestyle changes, job changes, living situations have all changed. And I do believe this has been a blessing that was meant to come after a very dark period in my life, which could also be a message for you that going through something very dark is not always easy. And in order for us to get to the light that's on the other side of that darkness, we have to move through it. And that's the unfortunate and uncomfortable part of healing and growing through experiences that do not feel good to us. I've had to, and am currently working through some trauma that I have experienced that lays kind of dormant in my life. And I know that I haven't worked through it, because when certain things happen, and they could be very small and seemingly insignificant things, such as a conversation that I have with somebody that is going through a situation that I went through that I have not fully worked through currently in their life. And then the experience that I went through replays in my mind, and then I kind of ruminate on that, and it just replays over and over, and then that leads to mental exhaustion. And then I have other responsibilities in my life that require my attention, that require my love and my care. And so that is at the forefront of my mind in those moments. And so then I push down something that I clearly need to work through, because I need to pay attention to this thing right now, because it needs and requires my immediate attention. You could be feeling like you just can't take care of yourself in the way that you know you need to take care of yourself as far as self-care. This could be, maybe you really like taking baths and you haven't taken a bath in a couple months, or you enjoy going for walks and you haven't had the opportunity to go for walks. Maybe you enjoy painting and you haven't been able to sit down and pick up a paintbrush in a while. And there's something about doing something for yourself that you haven't done in a while that will help you work through something or things in your life that are currently causing a lot of mental friction and exhaustion and anxiety. And there's also something here about possibly seeking outside, maybe not validation, but answers to problems, situations, experiences that when you work through the shadow, you will be able to figure it out for yourself. I feel like the collective that I am a part of is very intelligent, very intuitive, very emotionally tapped in. I feel like you could get a little bit, it might be easy for you to get a bit of emotional overload. You may be somebody that people go to in a time of anxiety themselves. They may have a problem and you're the person that they want to come to. And there is part of you that really enjoys that people look to you as a safe place, a safe person where they can unload their anxieties and their frustrations and their worries, and that you have this natural ability to help them unpack all of those things and put it into simpler terms for them. And then they're able to turn around and figure out what it is, or get to the core or the center of the onion, if you will, of what it is that's really bothering them. But while you are aware that you can do this for other people, you seem to really struggle to do that for yourself. And perhaps wanting to help others and help others heal things that they are going through is a way for you to, and maybe you may not like to hear this, I know I wouldn't, but it provides a way for you to continue ignoring and shove down the things that you need to work on for yourself. So I feel like I'm trying to establish, I feel like I need to pull a couple charms or something. And then I'm gonna pull a card. So I got a dragonfly, a rose, a turtle, a koi fish, a peace sign, a ship wheel, an owl, a witch on a broom, a key, a star, a moth, another key, a snowflake, another key, a horse, a leaf, a salamander, another salamander, a feather that fell on the ground, another snowflake, and 2 acorns. So some of those things could be significant to you. Sorry, y'all. As I was saying, there might be some things and responsibilities that, might be pulling your attention away from things that you need to sit down and look at or get off your chest, or, something like that. But other things that require your immediate attention and care sometimes supersede yourself at times, which could be causing you a bit of frustration. I too am experiencing that in my life, which is something that I'm needing to find balance with and make sure that I find the time to sit down, and whether that be to journal or to do something I enjoy, which is slowly dipping my toes back into my spirituality. There could be something that you really enjoyed that you no longer partake in or participate in or do because something around that thing that you enjoyed, I just saw 111 on the clock, there was something traumatic or scary or uncomfortable that happened around that thing or when you were doing that thing, that you no longer do it, or you don't look at it as a place of peace or serenity because you associate it with whatever that bad thing is for you. And so I feel like it's important for me to say that it's important for you to peel back the layers of the onion and get to the core of what is scaring you and what it is that you need to work through. I have my iPad here and I wanted to pull up the spiritual significance of an onion because I'm not really sure, but it keeps showing up for me. I have been cooking with onions lately. I really love onions. I really love them in salad. I love them. Last night I made them sauteed with pierogies. This hasn't happened in a while, but when I made homemade chicken noodle soup the other night, and when I was cutting up the onions, my eyes started to burn and my eyes started to water and I had some tears coming down my face. So that could also be a message that perhaps maybe when you sit down to do something that you enjoy, it brings up emotions for you, or when you meditate, whatever meditation looks like for you. So I have a frequency on in the background to try to ground my energy and keep my thoughts simple, even though they're a bit all over the place. But I don't meditate in the traditional sense, in that I listen to frequencies and see colors or whatever that is. Meditation for me looks like just getting in my car and going for a drive. Meditation to me is listening to music that makes me feel good. So something for me is I listen to 70s music. There's something about 70s music that really relaxes me, puts me in a good mood. I tend to get some messages when I listen to 70s music. I still to this day do not know the significance of that. But anyways, perhaps maybe you are somebody, I'm mentioning that because perhaps maybe you are somebody who also does not meditate in the traditional sense, or maybe you enjoy doing certain things that you would not think are meditating, but they are. So cooking could be meditating for you, and you could get messages, or you could be thinking about things while you are cooking or while you're painting or going for a walk that helps you kind of figure out something that has been troubling you. There's also something about, there could be something that you need to do or focus on or resolve or work through. And there's something annoying that is happening or happens when you're trying to figure it out. And it's so insignificant and not important to be, it doesn't need your attention in that moment, but for whatever reason, you feel like you need to fix this in that moment and give it you're giving it more attention than it needs. It's something that can be put off to the side and dealt with later. It doesn't need to be dealt with now and is not more important than the thing that you deeply need to be focusing your attention on in the moment. That's just a side message. But anyways, the significance of the onion symbolizes protection, layers of truth, cleansing, eternity, used across cultures for warding off evil and revealing deeper realities. Egyptians used them for afterlife guidance, linking their layers to the soul's journey. Protection, the strong scent and layers were believed to ward off evil spirits and negativity. Layers of truth and self, peeling an onion mirrors, uncovering deeper spiritual understandings or aspects of the soul, revealing profound truths beneath the surface layers. Cleansing and release, cutting onions brings tears, seen as a release of emotional burdens or spiritual purification. Eternity and afterlife, Egyptians placed onions in tombs to guide the dead, symbolizing eternal life and rebirth. Fertility and luck. In Greece, hanging an onion at New Year's symbolizes luck and fertility. There's also something that I feel like I want to share. I was feeling yesterday like a bit of an emotional overload, and there was something else that again needed my attention and my care and my time and all of my energy. And I was feeling very depleted in my own energy, and I still had to exert energy to something else. And there was a moment where I needed to walk away and just have a moment with myself in silence. And I just started to cry. And it wasn't a full-blown cry, it was just tears needed to come out and almost like a bit of a release. And then after that, there was silence. The noise around me had calmed down externally and internally. And I felt like I needed to take a shower. And something about taking that shower was a way for me to kind of wash off those feelings that I needed to get out. Feelings that I know need my attention, that I need to work through. But that little bit of release was very significant to me. And perhaps maybe this is a message for someone that maybe you need to release in some way. And that doesn't necessarily mean to cry, but it could mean to take a bath or to paint or to go for a walk or to cook your favorite meal or to bake something you really enjoy. While I was in the shower, I was very intentional about what I wanted that shower to do for me, and that was to wash off all of that energy that I was feeling. It was feeling like it was like a cloud, like a dark cloud that was coming in on me, and I wanted to wash that off. And I was very intentional about, really washing my hair, not rushing through the shower. You know how sometimes we get home from a long day at work, we feel dirty, we just want to get clean. But it was kind of deeper than that, and I was very intentional about washing my hair and conditioning my hair and washing my body and smelling the smell of my body wash, smelling the smell of my shampoo, and then just washing all of that off. And then following the shower, I was very intentional about my body care, putting on a nourishing body lotion. My skin has been feeling very dry, taking my time to do my skincare, pouring back into myself. And it was just those two things seemed to alleviate and remove all of that cloudiness that I was experiencing that felt like it just kind of came on at once. It was like a slow build, almost like a snowball effect, like little things that were happening here and there. I was pushing it down or I was ignoring it. And for me personally, I haven't had a good cry in a while, and I wouldn't say that yesterday was a good cry, but it just felt like a release that needed to come out. And perhaps I've been avoiding crying or feeling emotions that are anything other than keeping things, routine, things that I know that I need to do, that I need to take care of this, I need to take care of that, I need to keep my house in order, I need to do the laundry, I need to make dinner, I need to make sure I show up to work on time and show up as a good employee, a good coworker, make sure that I'm doing everything that is expected of me. And little frustrations along the way and ignoring the things that I know I need to pay attention to internally, I'm getting distracted by those outside things. So I know this isn't really one of those messages where you just get clarity on something, but perhaps me sharing these things will be helpful to somebody. I do feel a little bit of anxiety about posting this and worrying how I'm going to be perceived, or if maybe I'm like missing the mark. But intuitively, as I feel over time, I'm slowly starting to trust these intuitive nudges and feelings that I get. So I'm going to trust that what I've shared here today is going to resonate with somebody. I don't think all of the messages or quote unquote readings that I will do here will look like this, but I feel as though it's important for me to reestablish myself, and I'm also working through things as I am using my throat chakra. There's also fear of being seen here and being seen in the light or by the public, and worried about opinions of others. And that's something that I have been worried about and having some anxiety about for quite some time. But I'm making the choice to push through that because I am getting and have been getting strong intuitive nudges to do so. So I'm going to close this out by pulling a card from, it's called the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. I have a couple of her decks, and the colors in this deck are always very attractive to me. There's something about the color blue, something about the color green and yellow. You could also be seeing twos a lot. The number 13 could be significant. When I'm pulling cards for myself, I've been getting the Death card, which would typically scare me, but I'm looking at that on a deeper level and finding out what that means for me as a whole, and looking at that as something positive that's happening for me and not something bad that's happening to me. Because when I'm in and I get out of my anxiety mind and my emotional mind, I do understand that everything that happens to me is happening for me, even if I don't understand it at the time. And when bad things happen or things don't work out in my favor or how I would like, that causes some upset mentally for me and emotionally. And I start looking at it as, you know, something, could have I done something differently? Could have I said something differently? Could have I approached something differently? Could have I spoken differently? But when I'm in my logical mind, I understand that there are things happening around me and to me that are happening for my highest good, even if I cannot make sense of it at the time. So I feel like that's also important that I share that, because again, these are messages that are also for me, as well as I feel like I need to share them collectively. So maybe that's something that you need to hear as well. So I'm going to pull one of these Lightworker Oracle cards because that's what I feel guided to do. And I'm going to close this out by reading the meaning of the card. And I'll show you the card when it falls out, because there may be something that you need to see in the image in the card that could be significant for you. So yeah, there could be something really significant about the month of April or the number 13. and also something about the color blue. That could be your favorite color or someone's favorite color. I do believe that while my messages could resonate for someone that's in your life or someone that you're dealing with, but I do also believe that these messages are meant to be self-reflective, and me sharing the things that I'm sharing are meant to have you look inward and figure things out for yourself. Because while you may be looking for outside things to happen to help you resolve certain things, I do feel like resolution starts within. And so, yeah. So the card I got is 35 Past Life Activation. It looks like this. And the card says, you have talents within that have been developed through many varied life experiences. You have had many lifetimes already, even if you don't recall them consciously, helping you evolve and grow into the loving being that you are today. You desire to grow in consciousness and spiritual power to assist the divine plan unfolding throughout the universe, is heard and supported by the spiritual worlds in all ways. To this end, past life material is being activated now for your benefit and the greater good. Your soul has a history of lifetimes through which it has learned to be wise and develop certain talents. You have learned lessons and acquired skills and abilities. Sometimes these were mastered through very challenging circumstances. You might feel you are obtaining mastery in certain areas again in this lifetime, again through challenging circumstances, which is something that I talked about. The soul can certainly develop through joy, love, and happiness, but often it is through an experience of conquering a challenge that the real gems are won for the crown of the soul. The oracle of past life activation comes to you when a power you developed in a past life that would be useful for you to access in your current lifetime. Perhaps this talent or ability will become the seed of a spiritual vocation for you, a skill that expands your career or brings you personal joy. The ability that surfaces from the depths of your soul will be whatever is of the greatest benefit to you now. Sometimes while a treasure is emerging from the depths of your being into consciousness, it will be coated in the pain of the past. You might notice the outer coating first, the pain of abandonment, rejection, ridicule, or shaming that perhaps resulted in the suppression or denial of that soul gift in your past life. This may be the reason you have not incarnated with it fully awakened and at your immediate disposal. You have to allow it to rise up to you, and you need to dig a little to crack open the coating of a wound and free the treasure that temporarily became trapped in that pain. When you release the pain, you free the treasure once locked within it. Perhaps your gift was challenging to a community in a past life, whereas now it would be more readily accepted because that community has mastered spiritually over time. Or perhaps you have matured and now will value your gift and be open to divine guidance to show you how to use it for the greatest good this lifetime. The gift you are reviving is worthwhile. As you cleanse the memories, beliefs, or programs that once caused you to subconsciously protect yourself by hiding your talent, you will grow strong enough to process the pain and stand in the truth of your reclaimed gifts. If you have been considering a new line of work, feeling like you'd like to explore or express different talents, or have the urge to develop an interest and transform it into a vocation, you are very likely already feeling the stirrings of that past life activation now taking place for you. Trust the changes you feel. A part of your divine inheritance is being restored to you. So I feel like that was a good message to kind of recap what I talked about, and I think that card was confirmation that what I've shared today was needing to be shared for not only for myself, but for the collective or for people that find this message. I firmly believe that this message will show up for you when you need it most, or when you are seeking guidance. But this is a reminder that you already have the things within you and you already have the tools that you need to work through, resolve, and get to the other side of whatever is troubling you and causing you mental confusion and cloudiness. So I'm going to leave that here. If this is a message that resonated with you, you could let me know by leaving a comment, or you could like this video. And I don't have a schedule of when I post. Like I said, I'm dipping my toes back into my spirituality and working with my cards and starting to learn to trust my intuition again. So I will do them when I feel a strong calling to do that. But again, I hope that these messages helped you. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.